Thank you and good morning to everyone. Happy to see you all. Already so many here early this morning. Also thank you for your very kind words and introduction. It's very nice to come on stage when good words have already been said. Thank you very much. So I'm here to tell you about the story of a city that has done already a lot, a city that has changed itself, a city who is moving forward. City that changed itself from the traditional industrial city into a city of sustainable future and green transition. We are not, of course, there yet in all aspects, but we are moving forward. So how you make a city, let's say, from brown to green? That's the key of my story. Also some ideas and some other things what we are doing that you might interesting. So let's see what we can learn from Lahti, and I'm also here to learn from you and from other cities. This is how we develop, we learn from each other. So our city is around 120,000 people, the urban area is about 200,000 people. We are the 9th largest city in Finland, and we are a very business-oriented city, close to 8,000 companies. We are 50 minutes train ride from Helsinki, our capital, and less than an hour from the airport. And we are also home for two new universities, LUT and the University of Applied Sciences, LIB. These are both new, so we only have been 4 years now a full university city, which is one example of how we are moving forward. So this is Lahti, this is where I come from. And by the way, yesterday morning it was snowing still in Lahti, so I'm happy to have a spring over here. It's nice for me. It's been a long winter. And as said already here, we have been acknowledged by many different organizations as one of the most sustainable cities in the world. 2021 we were the European Green Capital. Now we are a so-called EU Mission City. Last year, EU selected 100 cities in Europe to move forward, to be trailblazers and leaders for the climate neutral and smart cities. We are, of course, member of that club too. Several organizations, we've been at the CDP A-list for 3 years in a row. We also were last year the EU Covenant of Mayors. We were the best mid-sized city in Europe. And of course, a North American organization last year listed us as the 4th most sustainable city in the world. Sounds incredible, actually, even to me, but we are happy about that. And so looking from outside, we also have been now acknowledged as a trailblazer or a city that moves forward. But let's look into it. What does it mean and what we have done? Here are some of the numbers. We have cut our CO2 emissions already by over 70%. That's today's number. Since 1990 level, which is the international agreed mark where you start calculating. So we have done a very significant cut in our CO2 emissions, and we are moving forward. We also have been able to cut our energy consumption, and the city has done its share. We also, you have seen that district heating production, we are an Arctic country, it was snowing yesterday. So district heating is a big question for the cities in Northern Europe. So that black thing was coal. So we were burning coal up to 2018. Now we said goodbye to coal, and we actually said goodbye to all fossil fuels in our energy system. And also utilization of municipal waste. Of course, as many other cities already today, we don't have any landfill anymore. So only 1% of our municipal waste is not utilized, either recycled or reused. So very good numbers, if I think, but still a lot to do in all these aspects. And let's go a bit further. One big thing is traffic and mobility. There's a lot of talk about mobility in this conference and this meeting. And for many, very important target is us to increase the number of sustainable mobility. And of course, this is very difficult for us, difficult for all the cities. We, for example, are very rapidly changing over our bus fleet to electric buses, and now I think more than half of our buses are already electrified, so running electric buses. Air quality has improved a lot. Our phosphorus concentration has improved a lot, and the number and the area of the conservation areas in the city, inside the city, have grown. And in this sense, also I must point out that climate change is not the only, and probably is not even the main issue we are tackling. Biodiversity is very important, and the importance of biodiversity is growing in urban policies because it's necessary that we keep the earth and our cities livable in the future. But these are some of the numbers what we have done. And then we have a very ambitious target. We try to be climate neutral 2025. And dear friends, that's tomorrow. Let's see if we can reach that. We are getting close to that goal, but it's going to be incredibly difficult to squeeze that last % out of our emissions. But anyway, if we can do this 25, maybe 26, that's our environmental director came to me yesterday and just said to me, she said, Pekka, it's going to be very tough, so it might be 26 or even 27. I said, I don't mind, it's going to be good enough. But we still try to make it 25. Traffic is the main issue because energy is the thing what we have quite a lot already solved, but then also a lot of other things. And for example, we are now planning that there's a company planning an investment for a hydrogen plant, green hydrogen, that will use CO2 as a raw material and wind energy, electricity produced by wind power to produce green hydrogen, and that will also help us to cut the emissions down. But as you can see, it's a very ambitious target, and very few cities globally are able to reach this. And this, of course, it's far before our national target and far before the European Union target. How to do that? One of the questions is that also you have to have knowledge. So we are very heavily partnering with science. So we are working with the universities, not only with our own universities, but also University of Helsinki has been very much helping us. They have the Department of Environmental Sciences in our city. So not only making strategies and papers and stuff like that, but actually really having knowledge what to do and what's the impact of that. The story of Lahti actually started, you might ask, how come you are so far? Because we started early. It's very simple. If you want to get far, you start early. And if you want to get far, start doing. So quite often when I'm asked what to do, and I say, my answer is very simple, start doing. A lot of cities are producing a lot of papers and pilot projects and stuff like that, but it doesn't move you forward. Doing moves you forward. Start doing things. Start doing small things. Start doing big things. We have also been communicating our targets in a creative way. We are the home of the world's first professional carbon-neutral ice hockey team that actually yesterday went to the semi-finals of Finnish League, and I'm very happy about that. We are home for the world's first carbon-neutral symphony orchestra to promote the idea of where the city is moving. So I don't have an illusion if a mayor says something, everybody believes. I don't have an illusion that even an expert says something, everybody believes. But when the most acknowledged and the best sportsman of the city, captain of our ice hockey team, goes out and says, hey, this is what we do. We want to be carbon neutral. We are working for that. It's fun. It's good. We do that. It has a huge impact on public. So how you find acceptance for the people, we communicate through different shareholder groups and with different groups. It's very important to have that support of the public for the move, for the things what we do. We also are now convinced something which been in theory, it's now practice. So having a green strategy and green transition is also one of the most effective economic development policies today. And we are proving that very heavily. We are a city that needed to change. Our own old industries were rusting. We lost a lot of jobs in 1990s. We were not having the drivers of change and economic development. Now we have them. And the key here is that we provide a sustainable area for cities to move forward, for the companies to move forward. For example, we can now say when we negotiate about businesses to come to our city, we say, if you run your business in our city, your carbon footprint will be automatically lower than in other places. It's a good thing to say for the companies. They like that. So we have, for example, a cluster for electric mobility with very fast-growing companies. We have a professor of electric mobility in our university, and they all work together. We are also very heavily have invested in circular economy. About 11% of the business turnover in our city area comes from the circular economy, and turning something what used to be waste into valuable raw material. I give you one example. Fazer is a big Finnish company making chocolate and food, and they have a new xylitol factory. Xylitol is a sweetener. So based on the innovation, when they had a huge bakery in our city, so they are using what's left from the grain and turning that into a xylitol and then exporting that to the global market. So something which has had no value, was considered as difficult waste, is now turned into a very high-price product called xylitol. So that's how it works. You take something, you close the circle, and you improve the value of the material. And we try to be zero waste city by 2050. Sounds that it's a long way to go, but it's also almost tomorrow. And as I said, it's very important to understand that today businesses are looking forward, cities and areas and partners who help them to fulfill their goals. This has changed in the last 2 and 3 years. It's been amazing for me as a mayor to notice how the language of the businesses have changed and what are the drivers of their investments. These are 3 companies as an examples from our city. Kempower make electric chargers. It's been growing like a rocket. 3 years ago they had 3 employees, now over 400. And their value when they listed last year to the Finnish stock exchange, they are now a unicorn. So their value at the stock exchange is over 1 billion euros today. Fazer is a very traditional, very old Finnish company making chocolate, candy, food, and we have the most important place in their production. And now we are building, and this is good to say, in Switzerland, we are building the largest chocolate factory in Northern Europe in our city, being very carbon neutral and utilizing all the possibilities to make very sustainable chocolate. That's important for the market. And Vipak is a company, packaging company, global packaging company, having a big factory in our city, and their target is to be the most sustainable packaging company in the world by 2025. Probably you have something from them in your fridge. For example, lots of French cheeses are packed into their packaging materials. So these companies are asking us to move forward, not that we would ask them to move forward. So when we had a strategy meeting of our city council to rewrite our strategy or update our strategy, we invited 8 companies from our city to tell to our city council what are their targets in sustainability and what we could do. And they said, you have to stick in your ambitious targets because you are helping us by doing that. So the companies were not saying, don't do this. They said, you must run. Do as quickly as you can. And when companies, the biggest employees of the city, say to the city politicians, nobody actually says, no, we are not going to do that. We're going to let you down. You who give us wealth and prosperity in our city, we're going to let you down. Of course, they are not going to do that. They say, we have to move forward. And then about health. This is something what we do now, which is also one of the first places in the world. We have put together our environmental actions and programs and development of health. Planetary health is a new big thing. And we are moving forward, so we have started a 10-year project with the health authorities to investigate the health benefits and then to see how our environmental action also improves health. And the idea is very simple in planetary health. If there is a sick planet, there are sick people. And it's not possible to have a healthy people in at the sick planet. Very simple idea. We are all part of the same system, dear friends, on Earth. So we are doing this and doing a very high-level research on how this happens and takes place when we move forward. So my message is very simple. We are doing something what all cities must do. We have only started a bit earlier. This is not something special, something what the cities might do if they can and have the possibility. This is what all cities must do. And Lahti is a very average European city. We represent the average city in Europe. Most Europeans live in mid-sized cities, between 100,000 and 300,000 inhabitants. So if we can do this, all cities can. And the goal is not to have all the numbers better, but have a better city. We have to talk with our citizens, we have to talk with all the stakeholders, and we have to agree that we are not only making a more sustainable city, but we are actually making a better city for everyone. We have to understand that if this is not happening, we cannot have everybody on board. So having a sustainable city must be also a better city. And this is what we are doing in Lahti. And of course, we are doing it in a way that it also benefits us to move forward. So to finalize our strategy, somehow I'm today in an ice hockey mood coming from Finland and having that quarterfinal yesterday. When we talk about the city strategy, Wayne Gretzky, who's considered the best ice hockey player ever, was once asked, how you make so many goals and points? Why do you score? And he was quiet for a moment and said, I don't know about that, but I try to think that I'm not going where the puck is. I'm going where it's coming. That's where you score. So that's also a good plan and a good sentence for a city, how to move forward. Try to move there where the puck is coming. That's where the results are. So, dear friends, to finalize my short introduction to Lahti, short introduction to what we are doing and have been doing, let's see a short video and use some familiar sports from our city, but let's see how it works. So the video, please. So thank you for your time this morning.